So this was week 5 of working with Wick, and I'll be honest, going into it, I was a little bit nervous because I knew I was going away to London for a few days, so I wasn't going to be around to do any training. I wasn't going to leave it to my husband to do. Not that he's not capable, he is perfectly capable, but we do have our hands full with our other dogs and still some of Wick's litter mates. So there's a lot going on, and I didn't want to add more to his plate. So we decided that Wick was just going to chill out. So I wanted to cram in as much as I could for the few days that I was around for this particular week. And looking back at my videos, I actually did more than I thought I did. So yay! I have no doubt if you have been watching my previous videos, you're probably getting a little bit sick of me focusing on Wick being calm and settled in different environmental areas. I appreciate maybe it's really quite tedious to keep going on about the same thing, but I can't stress how important it is to have a puppy that can settle no matter where you are. So we took him down to our local service station. It's literally just around the corner from us. We live quite near the motorway. There is a fantastic Costa there. I am a little bit addicted to the iced lattes. It's a great opportunity to go in and just have a variety of people milling around, walking past him. So as you can see, Wick, as usual, is pretty chilled out. He's not remotely bothered by the people that are behind him or anything like that. We did have a young child come over and he wanted to stroke Wick, and obviously he's got his do not touch sign on his lead. The parents were really respectful, and I did say, if you want to come over and say hello, you absolutely can do. The little boy bailed in the end. He didn't actually want to say hello, but Dad did. And again, it was really great opportunity for Wick to have an interaction. I allowed the interaction to take place despite the fact I don't normally let people stroke him, because he was calm, and that's the most important thing for me. Not that he can't interact with other people. I don't want him to become fearful of them, but I don't want him to constantly associate other people with excitement and anything interesting. So if he is calm and chilled out and he's happy to have the interaction, then that's good enough for me. Now, my husband is a fairly typical male in that he absolutely loves B&Q. I am a fairly typical woman in that I do not. So we compromised. He had to go, I had to tag along, and I said it was a fantastic opportunity to do some more environmental training with Wick. So here we are, we're wandering around. I'm permanently nervous that he's going to pee. He didn't, so bonus for that. But I'm just letting him investigate the entire area. There are so many different things to see, a different texture of floor, things hanging around that he's not used to, people walking about, moving around with trolleys. It was really, really great to see him just embrace the space and stop and stare at people when he wanted to, move on when he wanted to. We weren't having any of his refusals with regards to walking. He'd take a moment, investigate, and then quite happily move on. So it was really quite an interesting experience for both of us. I have to admit, I absolutely love it. I can't wait to start doing some downstays with him in there when he's a little bit older, and maybe even some recall if they will let me. From a dog trainer's perspective, B&Q is a fantastic place to do some exploring, because there are all sorts of different things just lying around for dogs to investigate and climb over. So we saw this pallet and I thought, well, why not? Why not see whether we can get him to walk over it? He did great. A little bit unsure because he's got the gaps in between the slats of wood, so he wasn't quite sure how to navigate that. Didn't push it, let him just get comfortable, encouraged him off and rewarded when he did. And it was just great to see him going, oh, I'm not sure about this, but let's try and figure it out. The key thing, as always, when you're providing a new experience is try and make it positive and don't force them. And again, here he had the opportunity not to walk over it, but he chose to go back over. So that was fantastic from my perspective. As we were on our way out of B&Q, Wick decided to remind me that despite the fact he is doing fantastically with his training, he is ultimately just a puppy. So he clocked that there was a small abandoned box, and he decided that this was going to be his box. Now, it was abandoned, it was just litter, really, but he thought it was the best thing ever. So he decided to grab that and keep himself occupied by carrying it. He is fairly typical of the breed in that he needs to have a job to do, and if I don't give him a job, he will find one. and for some reason he currently believes he might actually be a retriever. But that's fine. He had a whale of a time carrying it around. We got a few funny looks from people, a couple of laughs as they were passing by watching him carry his favourite box. I have to report that he did ultimately drop it and we didn't have to bring it home, which is a small relief because we have enough boxes and bits of cardboard for him to destroy as it is. I have said it before and I will keep saying it. Socialization isn't about just being social. It is about exposing your dog to as many new experiences as possible. Now, I have no conceivable reason why he would ever need to be on a flatbed trolley. I can't see why that would possibly happen, but here he is being exposed to it anyway, doing fantastically, realizing that stuff happened, it's a little bit different, I am coping with it, and all is well. I'm not going to lie, a huge part of me did not want to share this video because my floor is absolutely disgusting, as are my kitchen cupboards. I assure you I do clean, but I have multiple German Shepherds, including still some puppies from that litter that we just don't seem to be able to get rid of. So my house is a mess no matter how much I clean. But this is a great video of Wick conked out despite the fact our kitchen is super busy. So, not sure whether Wick's just going through a growth spurt, but sleep certainly seemed to be on the agenda this week. So here he is, conked out yet again in the footwell of the car as we're getting ready to take him on a walk down the canal. He is just so totally chill as he transitions from one job to the next. I couldn't ask for a better pup, and the sickness has stopped. So we ended up in a local park in Rishton, and although he did do some walking, I could tell that he was getting a little bit tired. We were getting some lead biting, so I thought we'll have some downtime. Now here's actually my husband with a client's dog getting ready to do a walk by with us, and I just wanted to see how chilled out he was going to be whilst that was happening. As we waited for my husband to finish his walk, we sat down, and despite the fact that the park's quite busy, there are some kids playing in the playground next to where we're sitting. There's a gentleman walking down with his dog. Wick couldn't give a monkey's. As you can see, he's actually struggling to stay awake. Starting to wonder if he might have narcolepsy, to be perfectly honest. But again, it is fantastic exposure for just chilling out. Yep, you've guessed it. Here is another video of Wick sleeping. I just wanted to do some more exposure work and see him settle in a busy environment, and he settled and started snoring within about 30 seconds. So it's safe to say he's pretty chilled out no matter where I take him. But again, that's exactly what I want. I want him in beer gardens, I want him in cafes, I want him in high streets and on trains. So I think we're off to a really, really good, solid start. And it's safe to say he's definitely getting his 18 hours a day when it comes to sleep, which is fantastic for his development. I'm also starting to introduce some crate training. I'm not doing anything particularly hard. I'm not pushing it at all, but we are starting to do those feeds that I'm not hand feeding him as a scatter feed inside the crate. Here he is with his sister Lydia, and they're just having a little bit of breakfast in the crate. Nice exposure, positive associations, and as soon as they'd finished, I let them out, but not whilst they were crying to come out. So, on the whole, it was a really positive week for me and Wick. I remain really impressed with just how chilled out he actually is. His walking's getting an awful lot better as well. We're not having anywhere near as many refusals, and the refusals that we are having, I'm actually able to encourage him to walk forward. Not by bribing him, I am rewarding him when he takes those steps, but I'm not showing him the food until he does, because I don't want him to start thinking that stopping means that he can get a treat. I'm just going to make a rod for my own back. So that's a huge improvement. He's now navigating the stairs from our house down to the pavement. That was a little bit of a problem for him before, but he's got his confidence up on that. It's only 3 steps, but it felt a bit daunting for him. So it's nice to see his confidence going up there. He's walking well, whether he's with another one of our dogs or he's on his own, because again, I don't want to build that reliance on him having to be with another dog to have him walking. So right now, I have no concerns, which is a little bit of a nervous place to be because something's probably going to come along and bite me on the arse. Probably Wick, if I'm being honest, because the mouthing is still a thing, but it is improving. So I shall report back next week on what we have been focusing on and if we have discovered a problem or two. See you next week.